What's up, guys? Welcome back to the garage. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to do a fairing removal on this 2006 Gen 1 Hayabusa. If you haven't seen the last video, it was an introductory to this build series. This is going to be a complete tear down and restore of this bike. I've got some brand new fairings. I've got a Gixxer 1000 tail conversion kit that I plan to install, some new exhaust, but more or less we're gonna go through this bike, go through the engine. I'm not sure if this bike runs or not. The original owner that I picked this up from says that he had troubles with it and it just died on him one day. So we'll go through checking that out before we completely strip the bike of the motor from the frame. Like I said, tonight we're going to do a tear down. So let me get into that, show you guys what tools you're going to need, and then we'll start tearing this bike down, get this project rolling. All right, hold tight. All right, let's get started. Been rambling on enough. So some of the things you'll need to remove these fairings will be your main size here, which is a 4mm Allen. You'll need a 5 for the seat. You'll need kind of a pick tool or something small like that to get some of these clips, these little push clips, detached. And I like to use a trim tool to get underneath some of that stuff without making any damage, causing any damage. 12mm socket wrench extension if you need it. And then I like to have some type of organizer tray to drop in, and then I usually write, fairing fronts, fender, where everything I took off belongs, and kind of keep things organized as I pull all these parts off, because there will be a lot of parts at the end of this. So let's get started. I'll get you guys on a tripod and we'll start working from probably the back of the bike forward. We'll start with the easiest and work our way to the most, I guess, time consuming. It's not really difficult, but it will be a little more time consuming on that front half. So here we go. Stay tuned. Hold tight. All right, I got you guys set up on a tripod. So first thing first, we're going to get underneath and remove these 3 push clips. And that's where your little pick tool will come into play. So let me see if I can zoom in and show you guys. So right up there, you want to press in the center. That pushes in, and you should be able to pull these guys out just like that. I'll get the other 2. All right, so next we're going to remove this bolt here, and then we're going to take off our seat. So on the seat bolt, we're using a 5mm Allen, and on just about all your fairing bolts, it will be the 4mm Allen that will be used. So hold tight. I've already removed the other side, so this seat should come off. Basically, you got the 2 bolts on either side, and then it slides through and hooks. So now that you got this side loose, we're going to remove this rear cowl, which you can't see. So we're going to remove this. This whole mechanism off with the tail unit and keep it all intact. The easier way to do it is just to disengage the wire here and pull the wire out. So what we'll do is we'll lift up on this wire just like so. We'll come around. I'm trying to do this one-handed while holding the camera. So just like that, as you can see, can be done with one hand. And I'll get you guys set back up on the tripod and we'll pull off this rear tailpiece. Hold tight. All right, so we got all the fasteners removed all the way around from underneath, and now it's time just to kind of flex out your undertail and pull it straight back. You got to be careful because your tail light will still be connected to its wire harness. So here we go. So here we go here. You can just set this guy down and disconnect. And there you have it. So disconnect your wire harness, disconnect your passenger seat lock, and this thing should slide off in one piece. So we'll set this aside and then we'll start moving our way forward with dismantling the rest of these fairings. Alright, so I'm going to leave that tail piece kind of where it's at, intact, because I still need to diagnose this bike, so I want to leave everything hooked up. So we'll continue with the fairing. So we're going to remove this front half, and like I mentioned before, that's going to be your number 4 millimeter Allen wrench. You do have, can you see this? You do have a push clip here, and then you do have a 4 millimeter Allen that you need to take off up top. I'll give you guys a better visual on the other side. Hold tight. So far, like I was saying, there is a Allen 4 millimeter up here. You'll need to disconnect that to remove this lower fairing, or this side fairing here. Looks like you have just kind of a fitting there where it's just pressed in. There's no actual bolt or screw. You got your 3 connection points here. Another one down here, another one here, third one there, and then down below you've got two on the underside. One for the right side, one for the left. While I was down there, I already removed the left. This little undertail piece here has two mounting bolts, and I removed them both. And what I'm doing here in this organization tray, the bolts that are similar, I'm keeping together. So a lot of these fairing bolts are the same type. Like I said, I'm just organizing them, making it easier. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll actually thread these bolts back into the location they go. But for right now, I'm gonna leave these off. But normally I would thread those back on. Alright, so down below you got this bolt here, which is actually part of a cross member little stiffener here for tying the two sides together. We're just about disconnected, but I wanted to show you guys this one bolt right there. So we'll get this disconnected. Let's see if it zooms in. There we go. So we'll loosen this up. Hold tight. Alright, so this is where we get the pick tool. What I like to do is just get underneath and then just give it a little sidewards pressure, and then you can pull up on the entire tab itself. Focus. All right. So we are disengaged. Let me get you set back up on this tripod. That little tab here is what was hung up. All right, so hold tight. Let me get you back on the tripod. All right, we'll do the front fender. Like I said, this bolt's missing. You got 3 bolts on each side. So these are all 4mm Allen wrench. Okay. You just got to pinch these 2 tabs and it frees up. This just gets pushed out. Brake line holder. It will not pass the forks. So it's getting bound up right here. One thing I can do is take off the front wheel. And once I do that, then I will be able to flex the fender in enough to not have to drill that out, which I don't want to do because I might be reselling these fenders and I want to leave it as OEM as possible. So let's get some Allen sockets to take off these pinch bolts. We'll drop the front axle and wheel off, and we'll remove this front fender. Hold tight. There goes that front fender. So just enough to flex it around the fork. I'm going to go ahead and put this back on temporarily just to kind of keep things situated. Shine some light on the next set of bolts. So we've got some Allen bolts behind this wheel near your radiator and oil cooler, and that'll take this inner shroud off. So we got 3 bolts from the looks of it, 1 down low and 2 up right below the radiator. So let's get this camera mounted and I'll get you guys following me on this extraction here. Alright, so I got that shroud removed. It's right over here. So let's take a little inventory of on what's going on. Looks like we got a lower oil cooler guard. Nothing on the radiator. Front fenders removed. We got all the side fairings. This rear tail fairing is removed. We still have the undertail and all the components, the rear subframe. I want to leave all that intact. What I'm going to do is drain all the old gas. It's 5-6-year-old gas out of the bike. I'm going to check the oil. I'm going to fill up some fluids. And I'm going to see if I can crank this bike over. So right now I'm going to still continue to remove some of these parts. So right now I'll start with the mirrors. I'll get you guys set back up on the tripod and we'll get these mirrors removed and we'll work on this front cowl and the nose here. Hold tight. Alright, let's get you guys in position. Alright, to start we're going to remove the right side mirror. This is the OEM mirror. So these little rubber shrouds, you want to fold those back and you're going to expose 2 bolts. I've got my socket with extension. This is an 8mm socket. So we're going to roll these back. Alright, now that the mirrors and front windscreen has been removed, let's see where we're at with removing this front nose. This thing seems like it's on there pretty good. Let me pull it off of these mounts for the mirrors. A lot of times that's the only thing that's holding them on. You know, there's these little plastic clips here. All right, so the mirrors are off. We got the front clips, which I'll show you. There's a clip here that disconnects this front bracket right behind the mirrors, and that's going to disengage this front cowl off your front fairing stay. And those are these guys here. So this was through there and then into this, which held on pretty tightly. So let me back you guys up, put you on the tripod, and we'll remove this front fairing headlight assembly. We'll disconnect the wires. Do this nice and slow. We've got some wire connectors here. One set, not bad. So this bike has been crashed. You can see we got this light fixture just kind of hanging inside here. Should mount up like a blinker on this side. It's busted on this side. Should go something like that. Only one wire connector that we got to disconnect, which is on your left hand side. If you're sitting on your bike, it's going to disconnect your headlight assembly. Set this over here. Alright guys, here we are. We've got all the fairings removed. We are just about naked on this bike, aside from the gas tank. So I'm going to clean up shop. I'm going to put all these loose parts away. The mirrors, the under fairing there. So right now what we have is this front fairing stay. There's this little trim piece that's connected by this little 4mm Allen bolt. Once disconnected, this will come off as well, and we'll be left with just the dash and the fairing stay. So I'll disconnect that. I'll move these pieces out of here, and like I said, I'll clean up shop. I like to keep things nice and tidy. I want to have everything organized. Makes putting these bikes back together so much easier if you stay organized. So hold tight. All right, here we are. This last little bit to this front fairing. We're going to take this bolt off. This is basically keeping these two halves together. This is part of the front fairing stay. So what I'll do is I'll back this bolt out. I'll take these two halves off, and then I'll put this bolt right back where it belongs. Keep track of it. Alright, so we'll get this bolt back in place. What I like to do is just cinch it back down, keep things where they belong. Alright guys, so we're at a stopping point. My battery's just about dead on the phone, and we are in a pretty good position on the bike. So all the fairings have been removed. What we have left, we got the front fairing stay, we got our ram air ducts, and a little bit of the undertail, our exhaust. But for the most part, this is right where we want to be. So tomorrow, next video will be draining the tank. We're going to get all this old fluid out. Gas has been sitting for about 5 or 6 years, so we'll drain all the fluid. I'm going to drain the oil. I'll put some fresh oil in, put some fresh radiator fluid in, and we'll go through, see if this bike turns over. We obviously need to install batteries, so the battery's coming, and like I said, we'll see if this bike cranks over. We still need to diagnose what's wrong with this engine. Hopefully it's nothing major. Hopefully it's something simple. Fingers crossed. but this is what's kind of fun about the project. You never know. So we'll go through step by step. If you guys are interested, stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, and let's keep diving into this project. You guys have a good night, and if you're interested, see you tomorrow.